Hey guys, what's up? It's Keeper, and in today's video, we'll be learning how to solve the 4x4 using the Yao method. So what is Yao? Well, Yao is basically an advanced 4x4 method. A lot of speedcubers use it. This tends to be the more popular method. I'm just going to sort of do a walkthrough to show you what it would look like. So here we go. So the first step would be to build two centers. So you'd have to build one center, in this case the white. Then you'd have to build the opposite color, so in this case yellow, up here at the top. So this is what it would look like. And of course, doing it through a tripod is not always the easiest. The next step after that would be to make pair up three edges, but they all have to be your cross pieces. So in this case, I would do white. So I see this one and this one. So I bring it in and bring it down. Then I would look for my next one, these two. So I would move it across, bring it up, then these two. Like this. So now that I have three of them, make sure that all your cross pieces are correctly aligned, because to the right of orange is blue, to the right of blue is red. So it's pretty obvious that the piece that would need to go here would be green, but we're not going to fill this side up because this would be the buffer piece. And the buffer piece is basically, it allows you to do slices where the buffer is. As you can see, it does not mess up any cross because there's a buffer here. Whereas if I did it for this, it would mess up the cross because there would not be a buffer. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to move the buffer piece into the spot where you're trying to move. So then now it's free. So I'm usually you would rotate your cube onto the side. It's all personal preference if you like your cross on the right, left or right, but I prefer it on the right. So what I would do first is I'd move the buffer piece down here. And I'd do that because I'd match up this piece and move the top around. So now there's a new buffer piece. I could bring this down, and this would solve my first center. Then I would have to do this center. The color to the left of green is red. So I'd move up my buffer to try matching up to find the two red pieces that I would need to match. So from here, I'd have to solve it using R, U, and L moves, sort of. So I do this, and then I could insert it. A very common technique is to use middle slices instead of having to bring this down and bring that up. So a lot of people do middle slices. As you can see, now this one is done. And I would solve this last one. So I'd do a middle slice down. Now, you don't really have to do middle slices. Some people do it, but don't overuse the middle slices, the real key. As long as you know how to move around your piece, or your buffer piece, to move the top around, then you should probably be fine. So moving on. The next step would be to create your last piece, or your last edge. So your last cross edge, I'm sorry. So I would go ahead and match it up right now and bring it into its correct position. And that's really the basics of Yao. From there on, you would use a method called 3-2-3, but that's a whole different story. So I'm just going to now teach you or give you a basic overview of how to use Yao. So like I said, the first step is to make your first centerpiece, which shouldn't be all that hard. I personally prefer white on bottom and yellow on top. It's just easier for me to remember because I'm still in the process of becoming color neutral. So let's go ahead and make our first center. Now I'm not going to go in depth about how to do the first two centers because I'm assuming you must be at least like some sort of decent 4x4 solver to figure that out. Okay, so the next thing I would do is I would make my next center across opposite side of the other center, the first center that we made. So now we're done with the two centers. If that was a little fast, I think you should probably go learn how to do centers, or at least how to solve a 4x4 beginner's method, and then come back. But moving on, we have our centers done. So the step after that was to make the 3 edges. So we would have to make 3 cross edges while putting them into their correct position at the same time. So probably what I do first is I do these 2. So I would bring that. And remember that since there are no other centers done in the middle, you have a lot more options, such as doing this, bringing the face down, and not having to move the top back. So I would make my pair, bring it down to make one of the cross pieces, and move on to my next one, which in this case would be the red-white. So here we go. I would match these 2 up. Now I'd put it in the spot where it needs to go. I can't simply just put it here because that would be the incorrect way of making the cross. What I would have to do is move it to the left side of the green, in this case here, because the left side of green is red. So I'd bring this down with the bottom back. Now I would do the white blue, I guess. So here are the 2. Do that, match them up, and to the left of red is blue. So I'd bring it down, and from here on out, I would rotate it on its side. Now I really find it easy if the buffer piece is at the top because I feel free to use the U moves. So I would keep the buffer piece at the top. Oh yeah, and if by chance somehow you get a 4th cross piece in there somehow, like this, just remember that, just pick one of them to be your buffer piece and stick with that. So in this case it hasn't, and I will move on. So I do red first, I guess, because there's already a red bar here. So as I said, I like keeping the buffer piece at the top. So now I'd do a little R to bring the buffer piece down here while bringing the right layer back down, up, so I have a new center to work with. So now I have this center and I would bring it up. And now I already know that it's back here, but just for you guys, I will check. So it is good, as you can see. Now to the right of red would be green. So now I know the green center has to be here. So here we go. I'd pair this up, right? And I would see, oh, this piece is down here. But since I can't just simply move this and match it up because it would break up my cross, I would have to move my buffer into place. And as you can see, this center is done and this center is also done. Now this one is probably the easiest. It's the last 2. And I know to the right of green is orange. Okay, so now this is the last step, finishing up your cross. Now what I find pretty easy, it's sort of Felix's way of doing his Yao. I would bring this, I wouldn't rotate it yet, I'd bring this down, and I would put this piece right here. So I could bring this up like that. So now it's really easy, especially for those who are really bad at cross, centers to cross, jumping or something like that, because now your cross is already done. And in my next video, I'll be showing you how to do 3-2-3 edge pairing. But other than that, thanks for watching. Like and comment and also subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.